Good evening and welcome to Aina's Boxing Universe, the EBU. And this evening we are pleasure to introduce Corks only Tommy Hyde. So Tommy, you're very welcome to the show this evening. You're in America right now, aren't you?
Yeah, and thanks for having me on, first of all. And I'm over in Los Angeles at the minute, so I'm fighting in 3 weeks, just under 3 weeks in San Francisco. So I'm in training camp over here in LA the last 4 weeks.
Absolutely, and you're a lot of your fights have been in the US already, haven't they? Because there was a kind of you were going to fight in Cork, and then there was the whole brain scan thing, and then you got the clearance, and you started off in America. But I mean, that's huge for any Irish boxer because there's such huge support over there, isn't there?
Big time, yeah. I've had 4 of my 7 fights now have been in the US. 3 of them in Boston. Obviously, there's a pile of Irish in Boston. I've a lot of family living there. So it's great fighting in Boston, and there's a lot of Irish living in San Francisco too. So hopefully this is the start of a good few fights in San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the St. Patrick's Day weekend. I mean, everywhere you look, there's an Irish boxer on a card somewhere that weekend. I'm going to be over in Birmingham that weekend. The British title fight between Nathan Heaney and Brad Pauls. Brad Pauls is from Cornwall, so he could be Cornwall's first British champion in something like 100 years. So obviously there's a Celtic connection for us, but obviously they're both English. But there are Irish on that card. But that's enough of that. We're back to you. So so you boxed as an amateur, and what made you go pro?
So I've been around the pros since I'm a child, really following all the pros. So it was always my goal to turn professional after a couple of years, get my experience as an amateur, and then turn pro. So that was the crack. I boxed for Ireland as a junior and a senior. Got a lot of experience fighting all over the world, and then I just felt that it was the right time to turn pro. Then.
Absolutely, and there's a big pro scene. Well, there was a big pro scene emerging in Ireland, and then of course things came to a head with the Regency shooting, and that's really made it very difficult for pros to fight in Ireland at the moment, hasn't it?
It has, but I think it's on the up again. I think pro boxing in Ireland is getting very strong. There's a lot of new pros signing on every week it seems like at this stage. But there's some good shows every month, and we're all being kept busy. So I think the pro scene in Ireland is starting to boom again.
Yeah, well, hopefully it will, and hopefully I mean, I know there was a big show that got cancelled that I was going to go to in Dublin, Garda clearance and that. But hopefully those things will clear up. And we saw with the 2 Katie Taylor events that they both seemed to go off without any reasonable hassle. I know there was a lot of security, but it just showed how popular boxing is in Ireland. And Katie has a lot to thank for that because she's really just, she's put us back on the map. She's our only genuine world champion at the moment. She's a 2-weight world champion, in fact, and that's wonderful. But who would have been your idols growing up?
I would have followed Bernard Dunn. He would have been at his fighting for the European title, and then went on to fight Ricardo Cordova for the world title. So Bernard Dunn was who I was following at the time, and it was all the kind of Brian Peters shows. So there's Bernard Dunn, Andy Lee, John Duddy, Andy Murray, Paul McCluskey. All those guys.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Andy Lee. I used to R&J, and I was glove inspector at Andy Lee's last seniors competition. But Andy Lee is just a wonderful man, and he's a great trainer. I mean, God, he's really had such great success there with Joseph Parker. It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. He hasn't been a trainer for that long, and he's already after achieving so much. Helping out with Tyson Fury. He's had Joseph Parker. Jason Quigley looked good in his last fight, even though he lost to Berlanga. He still looked very good.
Oh, he did. I mean,
Paddy Donovan's looking brilliant too. So
Paddy Donovan's doing well. Very, very special.
He's building a great stable.
And he's got a great boxing brain, like he's explained after Parker's victory over Wilder. He said, why couldn't Wilder do this? Because we obviously had planned for that and knew how to take evasive action. Some people were saying Wilder was poor, but I just thought Parker was on point, and Parker was taking everything in that Andy said.
Yeah, I agree. It was a great game plan. He used his attributes that he has, and he boxed completely to the plan, and he won comfortably. He made Wilder look like nothing really. He took away Wilder's right hand, and it was kind of easy for him after that.
Absolutely. I mean, because Wilder, without his big destructive punch, there isn't much else there. And I mean, he's going now in Saudi Arabia, and how do you think he'll do there?
Against Zhile Zhang, is it?
Yeah.
I thought it's hard to write off Joseph Parker now. He's after building such a big resume. He's after been in there with the absolute elite of the elite in the heavyweights.
And he was a heavyweight title holder, you know. I mean,
of course, and he was only young. He was only a young heavyweight then as well. He's still young. I think he's about 30. So for a heavyweight, that's very young, as you know.
Yeah, and he listens, and I think that's the great thing about him. You know, when you have a coach like Andy Lee who learned from Manny Stewart, like the great Emmanuel Stewart, and you know Andy took everything in, and when Joseph takes all that in, I mean, it's great, and it's great to see Irish success. So you're fighting Craig McCarthy, I see.
I am.
Yeah. Now, a good friend of mine, Bradley Ray fought and beat Craig McCarthy, and I'm a big fan of Bradley. Now, Bradley's, I noticed, move up to super middleweight as well. Is that a fight you'd like maybe in the future, Bradley Ray?
I know Bradley Ray. I think we follow each other on Instagram for years, even before we were both turned professional. So I know Bradley Ray very well. I'm sure you welcome all the fights that he's doing his thing in England. I'm kind of in Ireland and America at the minute, but he's a bit further on than I am at the minute as well. He's after fighting for some good titles. He's fighting on Sky Sports, but
he had
down the line.
After that English loss, he's had to regroup a bit, and he's gone up to super middleweight. And I mean, like, he's fighting in Blackpool now shortly. Unfortunately, it's the day I'm in London at the Ireland versus England rugby. Otherwise, I'd go. But I mean, you know, there's such a great, and super middleweight is always a great weight for Irish and UK fighters. It seems to be like a natural weight for most boxers. You know.
Yeah, when you look at the likes of Collins, Eubank, Ben,
exactly,
they were legends.
And Calzaghe then after that, and I mean, like, it was always the middleweights and the super middleweights. You know, even you had Watson, and you'd so many of them. You know, over the course, and it was always the middleweights, super middleweights we look at. Obviously, there was the guys up much heavier as well, but they were more of a one-off. Whereas you always had great contests at that level. And I find how middleweight, super middleweight works so well is you've got great punching and you've got great power. You know, you've got a mixture of both. Because at the very heavyweight, it just seems to be, well, with the exception of obviously Andy Lee and Parker, a lot of it's just who can punch who the hardest. Whereas down the lower weight you go, the cleverer it gets. And I mean, and then you're looking at the likes of one of my favorite boxer right now, Naoya Inoue. I mean, he's just fantastic, and he's got an amazing punch as well. You know, he's it all to back it up. So who would you kind of say would be your kind of role models as the boxers you'd like to emulate in the ring? As you,
I watch a lot of boxing because I'm a big boxing fan. I'm watching it. If there's boxing on the TV, I'm watching it, and I have been since I'm a child. I've always been a big fan. I loved watching Miguel Cotto, Felix Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya, those kind of fellas. Unbelievable fighters, and they were in unbelievable fights. I just try to get a bit off everyone. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm like any of those fellas, but I try to take it.
You know, it's who you want to take, kind of who you'd like to emulate. You know, even like Mayweather said, like, he copied Sugar Ray Robinson's style, and I didn't see a lot of Sugar Ray Robinson until my friend, and I give him a shout out, Stephen McGurr, sent me a rate of DVDs, and you could see how Floyd used the Sugar Ray Robinson style, you know, and it was brilliant. So I mean, saying you're using a guy's style isn't saying you're as good as them. You're saying that works.
There's so much to learn from all the different fighters, like Cotto with his left hook, his jab, and same with Trinidad. They were brilliant left-handed fighters with their. I know they were orthodox, but their jabs, their left hooks, and their left hooks to the body were brilliant. And there's so much to learn off all of those top elite fighters.
Yeah. And so you're fighting in San Francisco on Paddy's Day, and then what's the plan after that?
So all eyes are on San Francisco. I'm not really thinking about anything after that. But I'm looking for a busy year this year again. I've had 6 fights last year, and hopefully get 5 or 6 this year with a couple of title fights too. Yeah,
and the great thing was I saw your name across, you know, the ordinary media, you know, because obviously we're immersed in boxing. So, you know, like you, if there's boxing on, I'll watch it. And especially now with the advent of IPTV, you can find it, you know.
Yeah.
Like even the Japanese fights weren't on Sky yesterday, but by God, I made sure I watched them and they were all brilliant, you know.
Yeah.
But so it's great seeing you, like even like Cork, Bio, and I think the Echo, they interviewed you. So it's great having your name being more public as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's important. It's you have to do it in boxing these days. Now you have to kind of be known, and I get a lot of help off Kieran Doherty from the Echo in Cork. He does a lot of write-ups for me and all the boxers in Cork, so he's a big help to all of us.
Oh, well, it's so important. And like, and would you have, say, for example, a TikTok channel now and things like that?
I do, yeah. Most people in Cork would know me from the TikToks and stuff like that. I just try to show what I'm doing while I'm in LA, the training and that kind of stuff.
To get to the next generation, because they live through things like TikTok and the instant videos and the short videos. And I mean, I follow a lot of boxers on TikTok. I probably follow you. You know what I mean? But you just see the work that they do, and it really brings a new audience. Now, I know there's that kind of TikTok celebrity boxing thing, which I'm not a big fan of, but at least it brings attention to the sport.
Yeah, definitely. Know? And I think it's a cool way of being able to show people and bring people along on the journey with you, show them what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis in Los Angeles. It's not even sunny here today, but... No. But there's no sunbathing or anything like that. But it's still a good life I'm living over here. I'm lucky to be able to do it. And I'm getting the best of training. I'm getting great sparring here, great training with my coach in Santa Monica, and I'm learning every single day.
And have you then sponsors then to help pay for all of this?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple of sponsors from Cork, the Black Market in Cork, the PF Painters in Cork, Orinex and Freshly are all sponsoring me, and then we're getting a couple of sponsors and a lot of helping hand in San Francisco off a few Irish companies there and Irish bars. Ireland's 32 in San Francisco. So, like, we've unbelievable support everywhere we go. I think that's an Irish thing. Like, everyone, we just always support their own, and it's unbelievable.
You try to give, back a guy, especially if an Irish people, if you see a guy trying, you'll always help him, I mean, if he was just wasting and acting the bollocks, be like, go on. But if you see a guy trying and wanting to do it, and you want to get behind the guy and see them succeed. And I think that's it with you, because when I first saw you, I was like, because there's a lot of Irish boxers, but you caught my eye, and I said, yeah, no, this is a guy I'm going to watch and keep an eye on, because like, no, but that Craig McCarthy fight, I'm really interested now to see how that go, given how the Bradley Ray fight with Craig went, and just see where it is. Kind of like you do say, Bradley is a little bit further on than you, and I appreciate that. But still, it's a good test for you now.
Yeah, of course. Like, Craig is 10-1 as a professional. He's the current Celtic champion. So on paper, it's a good step up for me. But it's a fight I'm very confident in. Of course, I'm training very hard, as I said over here. I'm learning every single day, and I'm pushing myself. So in 3 weeks' time, I'll be ready to let the hands go and get a very dominating performance in.
Yeah, well, I hope you do. And like, that's the Celtic title. Now that's kind of like the title under the Irish title.
Before the Irish. So it's an 8-round there. It's an 8-round title fight.
If you succeed in that and move on, I suppose an Irish title, would that be in your sights then?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. If it comes about, I'd love to fight for the Irish title. It'd be great to say you're champion of Ireland.
Could be there too.
Yeah.
Or would that be further down the line?
What was that?
The North American one, would that be further down the line?
The Northern Ireland.
No, North American. Sorry.
Oh, North American. Sorry, I'm from the south. I'm not sure. I haven't really heard of that title, so I don't know how.
Jason Quigley won that title.
Oh yeah, the NABA, that kind of one. Yeah. I know the title. Yeah.
Association. Yeah. Sorry,
whatever's kind of put forward to me, I'll just fight. I'll fight whoever, and if it makes sense, I'll do it. You know what I mean? It's good to collect the titles on the way up the rankings until we go for the big one.
It gets you up the ranking, and it gets you up the card as well, if there's a title on the line. But so San Francisco, all eyes are on San Francisco. I was in San Francisco a few years ago. I really enjoyed it. It's an amazing city, and like you said, there's a big Irish contingent.
It's unbelievable. So we went down there last week just to do a bit of promotion for the show and meet a few people. We were there for last weekend, and the Young Wolf Tones were playing in the Irish Cultural Centre, so we were delighted with that. We're only away from home 3 weeks, but we were happy to have the Irish music playing and see all the Irish around there. It was brilliant.
Sure, you're going to need that on Patrick's Day. So
brilliant.
What will your entrance song be?
I'm not too sure what I'm going to go for yet. I always kind of have the Fields of Athenry to start off with, and we see what it kicks into then.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Get the crowd going, and then
everyone loves that one.
Yeah, that'll get the crowd going, and then go into your zone with your song called "Getting Into the Ring." Because I mean, the one thing, Michael Conlon, I mean, Grace, the rendition of Grace, and I've been at 2 of his fights. It's just amazing and spectacular. And he used the Sinead O'Connor recording of it, and she just had a fabulous voice, you know. But there's so many wonderful Irish singers and artists, you know. But like you said, the Young Wolf Tones, I mean, you know, that's great to get the crowd up and going with all the Cork songs, you know.
Oh yeah, big time.
The Banks, and obviously the Fields of Athenry is a huge Irish song, and a bit of Zombie wouldn't go amiss either. At the minute. Zombie seems fine.
You know, we love our music, so no matter what it is, we'll all be singing. Absolutely,
that's the one thing you can bet about the Irish. We'll all be singing, and we'll be singing when you're winning as well. So
that's the plan anyway, and definitely.
Anyway, definitely. Sure, but so that's kind of it. I suppose is kind of when do you hope to fight in Ireland this year?
Yeah, as I said, all eyes are on San Francisco first, but saying that, I'd love to fight. I'd love to get a fight in Cork after the summer, and for a title, as I was saying, I'd love to be chasing for titles this year. So hopefully, get a good title fight in Cork, maybe in September, October.
Yeah, because if you won the Celtic title, then surely you know that could put you in line for an Irish title fight. And like you said, it could be in Cork, could be wherever. Like you said, boxing is booming, and especially outside Dublin, you know, you could. I mean, there's plenty of great venues in Cork that could host it at this stage. You know, obviously when you're fighting for your world title, it'll be in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. But before then, I mean, you've got there's a basketball arena, isn't there, in Cork?
So I fought in the Procol Hall twice, and that's where I started boxing when I was 8 or 9 years old. I started boxing upstairs, and the fights, my box as a pro downstairs. And then our family bar is around the corner. It's the second closest pub to there, so it makes sense for us to have it there. You know what I mean? It's only a stone throw away, so it's brilliant fighting there. Having all your friends and family there, and then party on afterwards.
Party till the wee small hours. Absolutely. Sounds like a wonderful plan.
Yeah.
Well, Tommy, thanks. You've been absolutely brilliant. Great. Wish you every success on St. Patrick's Day. Good night and Táliv, Lá Fila Fáric. August, you know, we'll all follow your career of bated breath. So hopefully the Celtic title will be the first of many straps you'll get, and hopefully we'll see that around your waist on St. Patrick's weekend.
Please God, and thanks very much for having me on. And I wish I had a couple of fuckers to give you back, but I need to get me Oscar I'll get a bit better.
Well, listen, you've got my number, so DM me, because Grámór Agamsus and Swelga. So if you ever want, what's this in Irish, I'll be able to tell you. And if I don't know, I'll ask my sister. I'll ask my sister, because she's an Irish teacher. And
savage.
She's always correcting my Irish. So my Irish isn't as good as I make it out to be at all.
Your Irish is better than mine. But that wouldn't be hard. That's not saying much.
We're all on a journey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There'll always be someone better than you. That's my grandfather always said, you know, if you never think you're the best at anything, there'll always be somebody who will be better.
Always.
And he's dead right, and always be learning. No matter where you are in life, always be learning. Anyway, best of luck, Tommy. Knock him dead. Well, knock him down on St.
Knock him down. That's the plan, sounding. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Slán.